Hey guys, and welcome to the Journal of Huntsman. I hope everyone's doing well, and whatever's happening in life right now, whether classes or work are just feeling brutal, or you're getting some great news in your life, I just want to say three things. You're appreciated, you're seen, and you're loved. Now, today's topic that I want to bring up and talk about is what we all find cool. The things that might be childish, but still can have a lot of meaning and purpose in our lives. I know we all talk about going back to our childhood, when you were all kids, living life because everything felt so easy back then. You didn't have to worry about bills or jobs. For the most part, things were taken care of for us. Childhood has that added benefit because in a lot of ways we're innocent. We haven't experienced as much in life yet, but that's not always true. I think childhood can be a toss-up. Because for some people, while we're young, it doesn't always mean that we're innocent. It's a blessing to be able to grow up and enjoy and love being a kid. Because for some people, they don't have that. But there are things I think we can learn from our childhood and bring into our lives today to help us out. So let's get into it. One thing I really wanted to talk about today was smiling and how it feels to smile without a shadow or doubt behind you. As we grow up, we begin experiencing more and more of life, and often it's not all good. There are obstacles and challenges that just sprout up when you least expect them. A family member could be in trouble, your father or mother loses their job, you get injured or sick unexpectedly, or you get your heart broken. All of these are experiences that can come up at any age, but the longer you live, the more likely they are to pop up. And they're all painful. They can be painful. And the pain that we experience from these events is what gives our eyes that shadow. It's like a shadow behind our heart. And I think that it's generated as we experience more and more pain in our lives. You can see it in the eyes, in the face, in the person's body. And for me, I noticed it in people's smiles. And then for me, I think back to being a kid, and I try to remember the things that make me smile like an idiot. Now, I can't remember all the situations and what was going on, but I can remember how much my face would hurt from smiling and just enjoying the moment, being present and laughing. There was a bliss and simplicity to being a kid that I both loved and hated. I loved that it felt easy. I didn't have this super broad understanding of things like nature. If I saw the sun and clouds in the sky, I would think, wow, the clouds in the sky look beautiful today. And that was it. I wouldn't think of why or how things worked or how they made me feel. It would be simple because the clouds in the sky only looked wonderful to me. And what I hated was when adults would say I didn't understand things because I was a kid. I get where they were coming from. But I think everyone can understand the kind of annoyance of being disregarded just because we're children. The older you get, though, the more you understand how much life changes your perspectives and understanding of things. And as a side product, as we get older, we also have a tendency to get less childish. And I find that kind of sad. Not that it's a totally bad thing, but some childish behavior has to be shaved off as you grow up. It's just how things are. But there are a few traits of childish behavior that I wish more people would keep as they grew up. Like things like a sense of wonder or curiosity. We get bogged down a lot as we grow up because we start to know more. We start taking in all this knowledge and information about the world around us from school, our peers, our parents, television, music, books, etc. You start hearing and learning about how the world works and the functions of things, and we get curious. Now, if you're curious about something, you may ask your parent or a teacher and they might tell you. Or they'll encourage you to find the answer on your own. Or in other cases, they may just tell you themselves. But in the worst case, they scold you for being ignorant and having that curiosity. And where does that inquisitive spirit go? The spirit to ask about what you don't know or pursue knowledge out of an interest when it's unknown to you. And other traits that I think are important to keep as we grow up and honestly lose as we mature are our sense of creativity and imagination, and then overall genuine outlook. When we're young, we have this intense ability to imagine things all around us and have these scenarios play in our minds all the time if we're alone or around other people. We see circles, but there are squares, shapes in the clouds, and possibilities from literally anything. It's amazing what imagination can do for a person and how it shows up in our adulthood can differ. What I noticed most of my life is that it allows me to take a step back and think outside the box. And more than that, it lets me visualize what I want and see it in my head more of the time. And right there, visualization, that's a crucial thing. It's such a wonderful thing when you can take what you're talking about and see it for yourself in your head. When you visualize just one step closer to putting it in action. Now, the last one is probably the most underrated that I see. And I say that because we forget about it as we grow up, and we also put more emphasis on it at the same time. It's weird because we're doing both at once. And to kind of explain it, I'll say this. Kids are really good at knowing what they want and what they don't want. It's like this natural and instinctive voice in their heads that tells them yes or tells them no when presented with anything. And I think that's great, because that response is the most genuine response they have. They're not worried about being judged or being right, being wrong, or anything in between. If the kid is saying that they don't like applesauce or broccoli, you can bet 9 times out of 10 they don't like applesauce or broccoli. Now, most of the time, you can trust a child to be genuine with their reactions and their thoughts. And as we grow up, I think life changes in a way to alter that genuine spirit. I'll encourage people to stay as genuine as they can, but also protects their ability to be genuine. The world isn't always going to be nice or easy. It's a privilege to be in an environment where a genuine spirit and heart are allowed and it doesn't harm you. So it's important to always stay aware of what is around you. And I don't say that to scare anybody. I say it as a warning, because even with that awareness, I think a genuine heart can make life feel more enjoyable. So I guess after that little warning, 3 things that I think you should keep in mind as an adult are: 1, a sense of wonder; 2, a creative spirit; and 3, a genuine heart. Because without all of that, or without any of them, life can just be so bland, making it just disappointing. I want to take a second before I continue to make sure I mention this, but there's a difference between immature childish behavior and mature childish behavior. Now, let's talk about maturity and immaturity. When you're immature, you take things less seriously. You also hold little responsibility for your actions. And combine that with a childish mentality, it's really easy to let things go too far. And then being mature, well, that's about taking responsibility for your actions and making conscious decisions about what it is you're doing. I think if you pair this together with childish behavior, a mature childish person is just someone that's responsible for maintaining the childish traits that benefit them and making decisions that protects that for themselves. You have to do what you can to keep and build on the qualities in yourself that you like. That's the only way we can become who we want to be. We have to grow the skills and the things about ourselves that we like, and then get rid of the habits and the mindsets that we don't like. It's important. Think about it. When we're setting goals or chasing our dreams, when we talk about chasing our dreams, I feel like that naturally comes from a childish side of ourselves that is wondering, just looking at the possibilities and what's around us. Our dreams can die easily if we let in the voices that douse that fire, or we don't prepare ourselves for the reality of what we're talking about. There's a saying that I like thinking about. The quickest way to kill a dream is by telling it to small-minded people. I like the quote for 2 reasons. Because first, it puts the responsibility of the dream on you. It makes you think about your environment. Before I move on, I'm going to flesh this out a bit. So, first, your dreams are your responsibility. They're created from that childish sense of wonder or imagination that we keep as we grow up. What we do with those dreams depends on us. We can either nurture them or we can let them die out. But the choice is ours to make. And second, it makes you conscious about what's around you in your environment. The people around you are part of your environment, and if they're not beneficial to your dreams and aims, then you have to understand that. I don't mean that they should be friends giving blind support and just being yes men, but are they actually beneficial in some way to what you're trying to do? And can you figure that out for yourself? Can you understand how they're helping you and why it matters? They could be simple. Sometimes you just like the presence of someone being around you, and that's enough. That's enough of the support to get you where you need to go. That's it. But I think for a lot of people, we focus on the feelings. We focus on we focus on how it go. We see, but we don't observe. We see these people around us, but we don't observe how they're affecting us, what they're doing. And I think that could be dangerous. That's why I think it's important to create an environment and support system in order for you to do something like chase your dreams. What I started to do this year is I'm taking a lot more time curating my feed on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Trying to make sure that I'm seeing content that's motivating me, or is giving me something useful for where I'm trying to go. And truthfully, it's helped out a lot. Now, most videos I see are focused on mindful thoughts and activities, or they're encouraging me to just get back out there and work. And before I end this video off, there's one thing that I wanted to make sure I talk about, and that's our dreams. Sometimes we hear the word and think of it as something impossible and lofty, and in some cases that can be true. But I think that dreams have an important value in giving our lives purpose and meaning. I know that it can sound cheesy, but I also like cheesy things. I like cheesy sayings sometimes because they're simple, and sometimes the simple things can bring the most comfort. When I think about life, I normally think about two things. What am I doing, and why does it matter? I find myself asking some variation of this question most days, at least a few times in the week, and relying on the idea of my dreams is helpful. Some people like to say that life has no meaning, and that nothing we do matters. I don't think that they're wrong. In fact, I know they're right. That just means that there's even more importance in the things that we do with our lives today. If nothing in this world matters, we can choose to make anything matter to ourselves, and that's where dreams come from. That's why I like it so much. That's why, even though I know I might not reach everyone in the world, I may not reach 100 people. I may only reach 5 people that actually listen to this, but those 5 people, it may matter. It may matter to them, and it matters to me. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy speaking my mind and putting content out in the world. It's fun. It can be simple as that, but that's what matters to me. With the desire to create something in this world where meaning can vanish in seconds and years, we dream in an effort to make something for ourselves and those around us. It doesn't matter if life is meaningless, because we can generate meaning from that void with just our desires alone. If you lack a purpose, it can change your life to start dreaming about something that you think is cool, something you loved seeing or doing and want to do again, an idea or concept or image that may be childish, but draws you towards it, draws you in. And in that sense, again, I think it's important to be childish, because some of the feelings we experience from that childish behavior can help shape the dreams and goals that we pursue in the future. A simple dream like being a baker, or a sports player, or a hero, they can drive you to be something else entirely. Now, that's all for today's episode, and I hope you've enjoyed listening as I rambled on a bit. Thank you for tuning in, and once again, you're appreciated, you're seen, and you're loved. Check out the Journal of Huntsman on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. I'm trying to post as much content as I can, and if there's something you want to hear more about, then comment, and I'll try to cover it sometime for sure. Thank you again. See you next time.